G.I. Joe is the code name for America's daring, highly trained Special Mission Force.
Welcome back to the Titanium Hanger. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about Hiya Toys and their 4-inch G.I. Joe scale figures. It's called Exquisite Mini. It's kind of a cross between the vintage style and the modern. These figures do look pretty good, and they've done a pretty good job on them. I will be having to admit I broke some of the accessories. I fixed them all, but I'll show what I did breaking these accessories. And with that, the figures are pretty darn solid. They just have tiny little accessories, and I'm used to using that with the Hasbro, but there's some pluses and minuses. $30 price point. These are definitely collector items, not toys so much. They're made to be displayed, not played, for the most part, but I think that they're pretty decent. I did get them at Gundamit.com. I'm going to have a link down below where you can get yours. They are about $30 a piece. I think Beachhead's on sale. But let's get into taking a look at each and every one of these coming up. Here they are on the package. It's reminiscent of retro, but it's not really retro. I mean, that's kind of what a retro card back looked like. And that's what they look like. It's kind of all white with the G.I. Joe. And you got a pretty decent picture, and you see the figure. Real quick, we just kind of, there's Cobra Commander, front and back, Lady Jaye, front and back. If you want something more retro, kind of what Hasbro was doing in kind of what Super 7 does, is a little closer to retro, but the packaging's still good enough to display in the package. If that's a thing that you want to display in the package, it still looks good enough and represents well enough with the sort of still has that burst going on there, and then we get to the Baroness. So it's all, and I do like it is all consistent so far. Everything they've made, the packaging is similar along the line. All right, we're gonna go one at a time on these. Let's see if I can get the best angle on him, and I'm gonna show him that he does stand just fine on his own. But he also comes with a stand that has a foot peg right there. So you can see him on his stand and can turn a little easier. I love the vacuum metallized. It's got a vacuum metallized faceplate. And the top of it's vacuum metallized. That is really cool. Really shiny too. And this figure does look really good overall. And quite a bit of detail on him, quite a few paint apps. He's got paint apps in the silver up here, gold over there, another silver up top. His Cobra looks pretty good. It is almost like a burgundy versus a bright red. He's got his belt buckle painted, and I think all this, yeah, this is all like a separate piece glued on. I think it's glued. It's moving around a bit, but I think it's glued on and attached to the strap. And then he's got the quintessential stripe down there. So it's very, very kind of retro looking. Still got a bit of a modern flair to it. Looking at this knife, does it come out? The handle came off. So I guess that's not really a knife. It's just for display. Well, that's odd. I thought that was a knife that I could pull out of there. And it was just seated in there. It looks like it's just a handle stuck to a silver painted tip. I don't know. I might have to spend more time trying to see if that thing comes out of there, but I was really hoping it was a knife that came out of there, a dagger, because that's what it looks like. Anyhow, pretty cool looking figure. He does have this holding hand to hold his gun, and he's got the holding hand that was kind of already there to hold his really nice looking Cobra staff, which looks really nice. Looks pretty good. And I keep kind of knocking him off this stand as I move him around. So we'll just let him stand for a little bit. Now let's quickly get into the hands. He does have another just like solid fist with a pointer finger on it. And it's packed with that one. And then you have another gun trigger holding hand if you want to make him a lefty. So I didn't make him a lefty. And then you also come with these stand connectors. So I can put the stand connectors in here, and we can connect the stands to each other, if that's a thing that you choose you want to do, connecting stands to each other. I don't know if I'm in on all that, connecting the stands, making a display, but we'll find out if I am by the end of this. All right, so here we are in comparison to this is Hasbro's retro one, and very comparable height-wise. They're both taller than the vintage G1, and a little bit of it is, of course, because he's on a thicker stand, a bigger stand, but it does look like this looks a little more retro. That looks super retro. This looks like a bit of a modernized take, and I gotta say, I love the vac metal helmet though, so kind of cool. There you go for the comparison. Let's get to the next one. Next is Baroness. Let's do articulation with Baroness. Her head goes side to side on a ball joint, up, way down, and you get a little bit of up. She's restricted by her hair. And then shoulders, she's restricted by her shoulder pads. Of course, you can get a 360. You get the typical... Do you get the bicep swivel on this? Swivel is at the elbow. And I'm not going to go past the 90. It doesn't look double jointed. And then the hands are in and out on that ball joint. And then waist swivel. Oh, you got the torso swivel and waist swivel and ab crunch. Oh, pop that off by going too far, but you can get quite a bit out of that. And then she can pretty much do the splits if that's something you need her to do. Let's see if she can do splits this way. Oh, that's not really splits, but... So yeah, quite a bit range there. Thigh swivel. Knee goes up there. Past the 90. Yeah, past the 90. And then double jointed. So I'm not getting it like all the way, but like that. And then the foot. It goes up and down. I think it's ball jointed. Yeah, it's ball jointed. So you get kind of everything you need. Do they stand by themselves on their own pretty good? Yes. She's probably going to stand the least with the smallest feet. But she'll stand on her own with enough time. They still included a stand for that reason, though. Come on, stand on your own. Don't make a liar out of me. She can stand on her own. She can also stand on her stand. Let's get to look at everything else. I just want to say that her dagger actually removes, which makes me wonder if I spend more time on Cobra Commanders, if it'll remove too. Mine's not coming out though. And then she has these guns over here, and they remove. So I would think that Cobra Commander's knife would remove. She looks really good. She's really shiny. She's got a lot of sheen to her. I really didn't know that she was going to have purple hair. Don't know if that's a thing with her. I don't care, but I don't know. And they doubled down on it. Gave you an extra set of shorter purplish hair if you like it. From the front, it looks like a standard. Like she's business in the front and a party in the back. You know, it's interesting what they did with her. And then, but I do like the sheen. I like the shine. Tampograph, nice big old tampograph on the chest. And then a little one on the waist. If the camera's even picking that up. But she comes with this gun, but she won't be able to hold it with this hand. So we need to give her one of her holding hands. Now it is very satisfying. Okay, I say that and then it doesn't work, but the hand swap on her is better than what I've had with some of these other ones. Maybe I'm giving her the right one. Yeah, I'm giving her the right one. The hand swap was better on Cobra Commander than it was on some of these other ones, but this whole ball joint thing can be a challenge sometimes. Well, I broke her tip of her gun off trying to put it in. Well, as I was putting it in her hand, I bent this too much and broke it off. So it's really, really delicate and gentle. I don't know what to say about that. So that's my fault. But anyway, not that big of a deal. She's got her gun in her hand. She's got two handguns. It was really hard to get that gun in her hand. So be careful with the tip on that. I can have it repaired before the end of the video. It's not a big deal. Stuff like that's easy to fix, but a little disappointing. But it is what it is. This is definitely not a toy for kids. It is an adult's collectible, and henceforth, gotta be very, very careful with them. She has pretty much the same stuff as Cobra Commander. She doesn't have a pointing finger, though. Just 2 fists and 2 hand. I'm probably going to swap both my hands out so she can hold both of her guns. It's really hard to see it, but there's another one of those. And I don't know about whether I'd bother swapping out her hair. I probably might mess something up on that. But good looking figure overall. Let's move to the next one. And here she is in comparison to this Baroness. I don't know. It's a modern one. I don't know when she came out. It was a one that I got for cheap somewhere. And so you can kind of see more of a modern one. I do like the look of this one way better than kind of what Hasbro was giving us. And then next to the vintage, still pays some homage, a little bit taller, of course. There's a Baroness comparison. Yeah, I did get the tip back on that gun. All right, now we're getting into Lady Jaye, and I do like that they included her with her hat. So that looks good. She is very reminiscent of what I remember Lady Jaye looking like from back in the day. And a bit of a modern take on her, too, at the same time. So, looking at her, she's got a lot of stuff going on. These straps all over here, I'm not sure I really like all the extra additional straps, but it is a thing. You're supposed to be able to put the knife in there. I don't know about that. And then there's her backpack. Her gun clips on to the backpack. And like that. And it's not really a gun. It's more of a launcher for this. But still. Her backpack also has some adjustable kind of a light. She has a light on there. I more or less, for me, want to just keep it out of the way. For the most part. And not break it. And this piece did fall off of it as I was messing with it. And putting it all together, it just is what it is. She does come with 2 more hands. So she's basically got 2 gun holding hands and 2 javelin holding hands, if that's what you want to call it. And then she comes with this knife, and yes, I broke it and glued it back, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that thing. If I try to put it in her sheath, I'm going to probably break it. Again, I don't know. I really don't know what to do with it. So I've broken something on each figure so far. I'll blame myself for that. You just got to be real careful and delicate. But how does she stack? What is she really trying to look like? People are saying this line is like G.I.Joe Classified, but in the 1/18 scale or the 4-inch scale instead of 6-inch scale. And I think people are probably right about that. And really, it can't seem to get the head to show up very well. Yeah, I still can't. There it is. There's her face. It does look pretty good. Looks like she's literally look like they made her and she's wearing makeup. Like she's got a lot of makeup on. Don't really remember that much so much with Lady Jaye, but anyhow, she does have the knee pads. So she does. This one does have a big feel of classified, early classified look too, with these knee pads, the shin pads, and kind of the different color clothing. Definitely not targeting a real vintage era look with her, but I think she fits for both. So let's have a look. All right, so I just have the vintage one available for a comparison, and that's how they look. You know, oddly enough, I remember thinking her hat was blue all this time, and even though I probably took a look at her like 13 weeks ago in a video, I just didn't remember that her hat was black. And so this hat's actually like a navy blue on her. But you can see the big differences between a vintage look and what Hiya Toys is going for. It is not going for the same look at all, and I still kind of like it. Next up, we've got Beachhead, and I got to say, first figure I haven't broken anything on yet. And all I've broken so far are tiny accessories, but his knife actually comes out, his gun comes out. His beret is removable. It's actually packed without it, which I thought was a little bit on the strange side of things. And that's kind of cool that you make that removable. I'm not sure why. Why would you want to do that? But it is what it is. He has this gun here, which looks pretty cool and very sort of reminiscent to his G1 gun. And it is green, but it's kind of a darker green. It's got a lot of paint apps up to like blue on the magazine. And then he has the vest. So it's got a lot of retro going on. In fact, he's more retro than the classified one. His thigh part slipped down. So that's actually a whole separate piece. It's not molded in. So I do kind of like stuff like that. So it is like you're getting the G.I. Joe classified treatment in 4-inch. And therein lies kind of part of the problems with it. They're not taking it on as if it's what Hasbro did, where everything was molded in. Even if you had a holster like that, it was just molded in. This was a whole different piece. There's his handgun, which you could put in his other hand if you choose so. But I love how this stuff holsters. His knife, actually, his dagger actually comes out. It took me a while to wiggle it out, but it does come out. Unlike, I couldn't get Cobra Commanders out, but I bet it's supposed to come out. I will need tweezers, and haven't used tweezers in a while, so I'll have to use some tweezers on that. And then his backpack is removable. I don't know, this piece looks like it could come off, but it doesn't. Maybe it's just got a paint app on it. Let's look at that backpack. It's like a paint app on this section here. But maybe it's just my eyes. He's got his crossbow that clips in to the backpack really well. And I've given up trying to put anything in the hands on camera. Alright, so here he is with his crossbow in his hand. And yeah, so figure that's not broken. I forgot to mention in articulation the drop down hips that they included. So it's part of the design is the drop down hips, which will help give you more poses. And then like with him, he would have this gun sort of to the back. So quite a bit of posability. And I do like the stand, how you can do stuff with the stand and all that. He does come with 2 more hands that are more like holding hands. Yeah, so he's got the holding hands, but I've got trigger finger hands. And it's shipped with trigger finger. You know, there's real no rhyme or reason how they pack it. It's one's shipped with trigger finger hands, one's with fist, one's with this, that, another. So it's so strange. Some of the daggers are separate, some of them are sheathed. Makes no sense to me, but anyway, let's look at a comparison. All right, for comparison, here is the vintage G1 with his man purse. It's an ammo pack. And so there's similarities, but not completely different. So kind of why you could take that off so you can match the G1 if you wanted to. Of course, you could take this one off too. Then there's the retro. So this is the standard version of first release Cobra Island of Beachhead, and then the retro Beachhead. So I kind of think that this matches the retro classified a lot better than Cobra Island, and still fits an homage to the original. So with all that said, I gotta say, so far, Beachhead's my favorite. And I didn't expect that when I ordered these. Lastly, let's take a look at Flint, and it's looking super bright. He is super bright on the screen, and he looks pretty good. I'm probably messing with the focus by having those figures back there, but there is Flint. He has removable beret, and he looks like he's got like a scar on his eye. I mean, yeah, he's got a scar. Like, he's battle worn. This isn't the Flint we knew. This is a whole new one. This is like 20 years later after he's been through some war and it didn't go well. Looks pretty tough. He does have pretty much the same gun. Oh no, I didn't try to get this out yet. Let me do it off camera. It went okay. It went okay. He's got his gun and it sheathes. That's fine. We're all fine here. How are you? And then He has some grenades that are attached. This whole vest moves. The whole vest is just a separate piece. I'm wondering if you could get it off, if you'd want to get it off. If you could, I'm just going to leave everything the way it is, but I'm just curious. It does make for a challenge because it moves to plug this. This is where his gun would sheath into there. I'm sorry, but I spent so much time getting the hand wrapped around the handle and him holding his gun that I'm not going to be putting it in his sheath. I'm not taking it out of his hands. So it is what it is. And his other hands are, they look like they hold, one holds something. Yeah, another trigger hand or a holding hand. And it looks like another holding hand over here. But he does look pretty classic. A pretty classic look. A little bit modernized. I don't have my classified Flint available. I only have my Super 7 one, which I guess I'll throw them up here. It'd be nice to have a Super 7 comparison now. But there he is from the back. Most of what you see is his pants and his vest. But I do like that color of green they used. And that camo, it looks really nice. So, although this isn't super retro, it feels retro enough. And it's got a modernized update. And in all reality, if these are what the figures looked like when Classified first started, then I don't think they would have needed to do like a 180 course correct on their style. But other people disagree with me. But this does feel like it is more of a Classified retro look, and I'm really digging it. I like it, and it looks pretty good overall. I will try to, because this is still hard getting that out of his hand there. Everything feels delicate on this, I'm not gonna lie. And there's his chest. You can see some paint apps. There's just a ton of paint apps everywhere on all these figures, so pointing them all out is kind of weird. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to point them all out, but I do feel like it is kind of a challenge getting everything to work the way I want it to work. But when you get it posed, I mean, it looks good. It looks really good. Let's do some comparison time. All right, so here's a comparison because I no longer have my classified version of Flint available or a retro Flint available. I mean, they're deep in the recesses, so I've got the Super 7. And I use this opportunity anytime I do a comparison, I can put a stand on these guys. Now I've got updated stands for the bigger figures, but that's kind of how it looks versus the vintage. So it does have a nice vintage homage. I do think that Hiya Toys is closer to Classified and maybe even the Classified Retro than Super 7. But since I bothered getting Super 7 stuff out, we can also have a look-see at Lady Jaye. And I got her on a stand now, so we can kind of see what she looks like next to the Super 7 Lady Jaye. I mean, it's definitely apples and oranges in comparison, but figured it'd be fun to look at. The way I'm going to try to set stands up is to have the pegs somewhere different than... I don't want them all uniform. I don't want them all standing right in front of each other. I want them to have some depth to it. And so that's how I'm doing it. So you kind of have to say, there's that, there's this. So we'll put this one on like so. And then you put the clips in to here. And you just keep doing that till you've got your stands set up the way you want them. I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm going to do it anyway. All right, so here it goes. This is the stand connected, and I can see what they were going for. If you can see that this is what they were going for. I still personally think I would rather just have them separately, each on their own stand, and doing it that way instead of connecting them. But it's something you can do. It's a thing you can do if you want to. I don't think that the connectivity of the stand is for me. And you're always going to have 2 extra of these, which is a good thing. All right, so if I look at the Hiya Toys, 5 of these figures: Beachhead, Flint, Lady Jaye, the Power Couple, and then Baroness and Cobra Commander. And I'm curious what you guys think about these figures. Have you picked any of these up? Is this something for you? Around $30 each. Beachhead's on sale, I think, for some reason, for like $26. But these are a bit challenging. You get your hands on. You get them at Gundamit.com. I'll have a link down below. You can get all these. And it's one of those things that you just can't go get them from BBTS. It's a contract thing, and it's a little harder to get them, which is why I jumped on them as soon as I knew that Gundam had it, and it'd be quick and easy to get these. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, subscribe. TH Reviewer code if you want to go pick some up. Helps the channel out. Time to hanger out.